Yeah. Music, to say about music, I was put into music when I was a tender age of 4 to 5. So I used to hate music. I used to hate music because the teacher would definitely beat me if I don't sing, that sort of things. And to say about Carnatic music is my actually the music I sing today is only because of the guru, the teacher who taught me, and he not even taught me. He also taught me that music is something you can hold on when you are not there. When you are there, you are confused that you are there or not. I had some good marks to join for science subjects and all, but I always wanted this literature, and I always wanted to continue music. So science and music, it can go, but I think I won't manage. So I thought to take literature, and learning literature has always given me this love for poetry.
Okay, so you are also into music. So tell us more about tell us more about Carnatic music and when you started and how you started and everything.
Yeah. Music, to say about music, I was put into music when I was a tender age of 4 to 5. So I used to hate music. I used to hate music because the teacher would definitely beat me if I don't sing, that sort of things. And to say about Carnatic music is my actually the music I sing today is only because of the guru, the teacher who taught me, and he not even taught me. He also taught me that music is something you can hold on when you are not there. When you are there, you are confused that you are there or not. So my guru is Kolombi Sajikumar sir. His name is Sajikumar sir, and he taught me how to love music, how to enjoy music, and how to be inside music. So from there, after getting him as my guru only, I actually loved music, and I came to him at the 13 or 14 years. And the last year, this time August, I had my first debut music concert, and it's something very special, very 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 special for me. And I can't say enough thank you, enough. I can't be enough grateful to him for giving me that experience, because for me, singing 2.5 hours in a stage, you being the complete vocalist, and that is my biggest dream, one of my biggest ambitions, and he gifted me that, and I'm more than grateful for him. So to talk about Carnatic music, it's the way of Carnatic music. It's mainly devotion. So it's a devotion that you create into poetry. It's called Kriti, but for the sake of people for understanding, I say it's poetry. It is called Kritis. So they are converted into Kritis, and they are sung in specific compositions, specific ragas. Ragas are tunes which are given theories. So Carnatic music is all depended upon the theories, rules, and everything. So there are certain rules, structures. So that's why it becomes the difficult.
Hello.
Influence, but Carnatic music is actually original. When it evolved, it is actually continuing his tradition. So as a
Yes.
student of Carnatic music, it's my responsibility and it's my ambition that I should be a reason for the people to know about the glory of Carnatic music.
Okay, so Vidya, I was I was having a training of classical dance for a few years, and so I would like to ask you one thing: how is Carnatic music different from the other classical genres that we have in India?
Yeah, Carnatic music. I'll first of all like to say how the term Carnatic music came. So Carnatic music came from a Sanskrit term, Karna Ataka. Karna means ears, Ataka means to please. So the basic definition of music is to please ears, and that's what is called Carnatic music. And from there, we'll call when we call it in our own terms and languages, we'll call Karnataka Sangeetam. And when we call it in English, it becomes Carnatic music. So the basic idea is to please your ears, and it has originated before 500 BC and all. But how it originated is that there was a chanting of Vedas. So we used to chant Vedas. So the base existential note was Ni, Sa, Ri. There were only three. It came to become seven notes. Then it became a raga. So this the chanting of Vedas to sing, and they started to tune that slokas to many ragas. There were no certain like rules, system, or this is called this raga or this is called this raga. There were nothing like that. But after when we come to 17th, 18th, and 19th centuries, we can see many people coming with the idea. It is called paddhati or strategy in Carnatic music. So they had this everything strategy with them. The the father of Carnatic music is called Purandara Dasar, and like we have three trinities whom we call Tyagaraja Swami, Muthuswami Dikshitar, and Shama Shastrigal. There are many people who are related to Carnatic music in the same century itself, Annamacharya, and some more. Many are there. So it's very lame to name only three or four. There are so that only became to know as Carnatic. Still date. So every kriti he writes will have the historical importance of that temple, plus the importance of deity, the speciality of deity, and what will we get if we worship him or her. So we have that much details, and that Sanskrit being a very beautiful at the same time a little complicated language, the beauty of this kritis is immense. It's actually incredible for the people who are actually knowing Sanskrit, as we say in poetry and in literary things. Literary,
We are having some technical issues.
almost every kritis has unique talas, and it is very interesting to put rhythm for his kritis. And when we come to Saint Tyagaraja Swamigal, he is an epitome for devotion. He worshipped Rama. He his emotions to Rama, that he wants to see Rama, he wants to touch his feet, he wants to drink his essence. Everything is mentioned in this kriti. So Carnatic is basically the essence, the flavor. So that's why it's always connected with classical dance, because the essential is also the feeling, bhava. So bhava is always there. And we can also see many kings writing kriti and composing it and singing it in darbar and many codes. So Carnatic music is linked to dance because it has that emotion. So they are able to link the stories of the Puranas with the society, and they can dance towards. So that's why it is linked to Carnatic music, and classical dance are linked.
Okay, so I got like some idea, a very good
Yeah,
idea
it's
about what.
actually a very vague idea. If you go
Yeah.
it has a Persian influence. But Carnatic music is as originated, means it's pure as originated, because the speciality of the Carnatic music is the extra swara or the extra note we have. Actually, we have 16 notes in Carnatic music, and it's like theory of Carnatic music. I'll just say it for the sake of hearing. 16 notes for Carnatic music, and no other music in the world has 16 notes total for the composition of songs, swaras, and everything. So that make it more complex, that make it difficult, but at the same time that make it more traditional, prestigious, and everything.
Okay, Vidya, I have stopped my video because it's raining heavily here and I'm having some network issues. So I hope you don't mind.
Yeah, actually.
So, okay, so moving to my next question, like how music helped you and how it was therapeutic to you, because when we were
I
conversing, you said that you were
sorry, I
kind of.
lost you in between. Can you repeat?
Okay, so how the Carnatic music was therapeutic to you, because when we were having a discussion, you said me that you were an introvert person. Now you are a total extrovert and all out there expressing yourself. So tell us about it.
Yeah. I, as an introvert person, for the people hearing this would seem very weird and crazy, because I was an introvert in my past years because of my, I told you, right, a little imperfections in my hands and legs. I had this inferiority complex and everything inside me. I won't show it to anyone, but I had this feeling. So I would make myself more inside, to the family, to the friends, a circle I know. So I will not extend to people outside them, because people will ask what happened to your fingers and what happened to your legs, and that's a question I don't want to hear. That was the reason why I became an introvert. So that was the point where I was like lagging myself back with the society, community functions, and everything. So that's where, when I was forced to put into a bhajan competition by my parents and people around, the community people. So I went into it, I sang, and they developed that this girl is singing. Not very grandy or very good, but this girl is singing, so we can take her to other competitions as well, and put her to many programs that is going to be in our community functions. So that's where I got into my first stage, and I got to sing a whole song for myself, as that is not very, actually it's not ordinary for first timers to give a whole song, but I was given. I sang, and from there it started, and the community people, I have to thank them a ton. They are Young Brahmins Association, and they are Brahmana Samajam, and they have like build me to this extent that I am talking to you like this, or I would not sit here. Like, they drag me to every functions. They drag me there. You come with, yeah, you have that caliber. You come, you can speak, you can talk, you can sing. Like, they drag me into everything, and that's why I became an extrovert. They first they had to drag me, and now I'm asking for the mic to talk, and that's the difference they have created, and that difference is only because they had the trust in me. If my parents also leave me to many places to for competitions and all, they don't even come with me. uh, they uh, they they held my responsibility to the community people, and they took me to everywhere, and I built a strong bond with them, that their opinions mattered me a lot. And from there I started to actually go for competitions. I became interested that I have the caliber, I want to go to stage, I have to perform like that. I got this call from inside that they are for you only, you can believe them, and they trusted me. I have to say they trusted me. They held me responsible for singing competitions. They told me to teach new children who are coming and to add them into group, and like I don't have what to thank them also. If they haven't they put a trust in me, or they didn't see any caliber in me, like I would be still inside my home or doing something now. But they have trusted me. They gave stages, very small stages, but I have to say that stages means a very big stage to me, because I'm talking this is because of them. Their faith on me, they give me responsibilities to manage this thing, manage that thing. So that how I was not discriminated. Like she will not, I think she will not do. I haven't heard nothing from them, because they had that faith in me. So that's where I became an extrovert. And when you talk about music, with the medium of music only, I became an extrovert. If I don't sing, or if I don't even try to sing, I would not have been inside the community, or I would not have been inside the stages, and many stages I have sung. So that's music became my medium for everything. And actually that time I didn't love music that much, or this the soothingness. I didn't get that soothingness from music, because I didn't go to music in that way. Like music came to me. It's my like honor, and it's my a blessing. It's God's blessing. This music came to me. It does not happens with everyone. Music gave me chances, music gave me stages, music gave me the courage, faith, everything. And that's where I was still learning to the music, but not interested very much. Then they told, if you want to get prizes, or if you want to get more stages, you go and learn Carnatic music. That's the basis of everything. Community people said. And I took a Saji sir's class, and I was like, no, I don't know what. I saw myself. I was not even zero. I was negative. It was like a very vague vacuum. I didn't know what music was. That was my stage. And here I am talking about music. That is only because of his blessing, his hands on my head. So that's the magic of my teachers, my community people. They have all encouraged me. I have to say, I have got many demotivations, discouragements, everything, but I won't say that in front of this, because they have given me a lot that I have reached here. I would like to thank them a million in this occasion. Thank
I can feel the excitement and I can feel the vibe that you have created right now, because till now whatever you have shared with us, I can make out one thing, that your teachers have played a huge role in forming who you are today.
you. Yes, exactly. I can't imagine a life without these teachers. There are some incredible teachers who have an impact on me. Like when I was a small kid, the reason for me being an introvert is my school, because in that school I was not treated very good, or not like they used to discriminate that she will not be able to do that because she have that something in her legs, so she will not be able to run. So leave her back. They had that disfaith in me, or it should say it may be a concern, like if she falls down, what will we say to her parents, or what will the child feel, like that. It may be a concern that it's my fault head that I thought it's a disfaith, but it may be a concern. I was not treated like, I was always separated. Like I take care of her because she is that. I had that because I don't. Every person who are having some visible imperfections will never like this sympathy term, and I hated that sympathy. I don't love sympathy. Definitely, I don't like. So that's where I hated my school. And one day, my teacher, I was like, she was asking questions, and I was very very, very excited for answering because I know the question. So I was raising my hand like this, and she told, "Put your nasty hands down." And that's where I lost everything. I know that I'm different. I'm not like Sandra, my best friend. I'm not like her. Like I started to think I was very depressed. I ran out from the school, and some sort of scenes happened. And then I have to say, then the three things which helped me is one is music, and then is peace. And from now, whoever I talk, if they have some with acquaintances or friends or anyone, if have some problems, I will always recommend to go to talk to trees because they are amazing healers. You will not believe, I actually am excited. I just went to trees. I have my garden backside and I have 4 to 5 trees. So it was Raksha Bandhan and I went there and sat with them. I usually talk them and I have named them my favorite ragas. So I talked to them, and that day itself, I got a mango from a tree, and something
Wow.
that's what I man. I would like to believe that that is a love from a tree, because it's very incredible for me. Because they have sensations, they have that soothingness inside. I would definitely recommend, if you're hearing this, if you have any problems, don't go and beg your friends. Go to trees and blurt your heart out, because it will actually hear, and it will not speak, it will not utter a single term, but it will give you an immense amount of bliss and that feeling of satisfaction and feeling of, okay, yeah, it happens because it's life. And trees are the best example for everything, I would suggest to say. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, from
uh,
there only, first I was not very happy with my teachers. Then I came to my changed my school from actually from 8th standard only. Like, I got my precious teachers who had changed my life. They pushed me and pulled me, and they were like, when I said them I want to take physics or I want to take science, they left me telling that, "Vidya, you see, you will talk, you will take literature itself, I'm sure for that." And that happened too. So teachers play a very important role, and
okay.
especially my music teacher. He is
Yeah.
actually near to my god.
So I will say that you are very lucky that you have such teachers in your
Yes.
life, and I also have some teachers who, if I am able to do podcast today, then it's definitely because of them. And if they're hearing, thank you so much, sir, for that. Because I will still remember I was in class 5, and then in the parents teacher meeting, my mom and my dad went, and my teacher, he was my class teacher, and he was like, you know what, I want to have a complaint about your daughter, because I was a good child and I never had a complaint, and I always scored good marks. So all the teachers used to say good things, and when the first thing he said, I want to have a complaint about your daughter, I was hell scared. And my mom was looking with big eyes towards me, and I was like, what you have done and everything. Then my teacher said that she is a brilliant student and she is a very good orator, and one day she will go and talk in public. And the faith that he had in me is like kept me going and going and going. Um, and he's still in contact with me because I met him in class 5, and now I'm doing my graduation. So he's still in contact with me. He still wishes me and everything. So yeah, good teachers. Teachers really do play an important role to form who you are today. So Vidya, the teenage life that you have crossed and the I have crossed are very different, I will say. So how, what you think is about the peer pressure, or how important it is, the effect of peer groups that you have in your school, at the mainly in your teenage.
Yeah, actually, saying about peers is, they are wonderful people. Actually, I should say not everyone are, but some are wonderful. If you ask me, is peer pressure good or bad? I would say it has a stable answer. It is diplomatic because it have a positive impact, at the same time negative impact. I have both. I had have both. So I would like to say positive, because there are many kinds of different types of people whom you meet every day, every time, or they don't they with reason come to your life. So there is a thing. So if you have a negative influence, like if you are in a peer group which is having a little negative actions and something, you are inside it. But someday or the other day you will learn that that is negative. For that only they were there. So I would believe that no one is bad. Everyone has good and bad things. I have good things, I have very bad things, I have very vulnerable things also. So bad influence is to teach you that it's not right. For the good, they are actually incredible people, because I have been always encouraged and motivated. I have never discriminated. Like, you don't come with me because you will fall down. They have never told me, and they have always included me in everything, and they have found my good things and always appreciated me. So if I have some bad influence, or if I have some negative influence from peers, that's only to teach you that it's bad. So don't go to that line. And I would believe that everyone is existentially good.
Okay, so Vidya, we talked about teachers, we talked about peer pressure, and now I would like to ask you about the English classes that you are taking. Like when you started, and what was inside you when you started this?
Yeah, that is also a long story. I am continuing with my long story. Sorry. Yeah. So if you ask me about my English classes, I told you the influence was from my ninth standard. I used to teach poems in the classes, lessons in the classes, chapters in the classes, and that was the impact on me. And my father used to be an English teacher, so he imparts many things to me, like how to teach, how to behave to children, and the stories are like very funny. He's not a very strict teacher, but he teaches in a very nice manner, and he has some tricks with him. So he always gives me that, and that's where I thought, like, I was sitting. I always wanted to work with some children. I always wanted to like, I'm very fond of talking, and I wanted someone other than who know me. So I used to chat with the juniors. I used to chat with the students. If they ask some doubt, I clear. So I know that I had the potential to teach. So the actual reason of becoming, like, I had the idea of taking tuitions and asking money for that. But before that, I have to say, when Kerala was struck by the first flood, 2 years before, I got a call from my friend. She told me that, Vidya, my house is sinking. Then I didn't know what to do. So I called all the news channels. I called all the control numbers, everything. Then from there, that 3 days of full flood, 3 days, I didn't sleep a little. So not for the friend who called me, but for the people who actually were in serious troubles. So I was like working for them, and from there I actually started to feel the happiness of giving something to someone or making someone happy. After these rescue operations and all, the girl whom I rescued called me personally, and she said a thank you. And I remember her sound till now. It reverberates on my ears. It's actually huge. It's the noblest feeling that you get. You help someone, and that person is remembering you after months, and they are calling me that I'm okay now. You have helped me. Thank you. And that's something big. And from there only I was clicked to social service. From there I thought I have to do something to the society I live. I seriously wanted to do. So I searched for internships options for NGOs and all. So I found Adore India NGO, and I worked with them for uh, months. And there, the project was to teach students who can't afford tuitions. So I was like, since I was uh, taking a degree from Amrita on literature, I was forced to take basic English. That's where I actually start taking tuitions. So I was very, very, very tensed, because my Hindi is Utpatan Hindi. I don't really know like fluently to speak Hindi. I do speak, but I was very tense because it is the students you are going to deal with all are in Hindi. based. Some are from Kolkata and Bhubaneswar and all. So I had no faith in me. But the day I started with something called noun or sentence or anything. But I recognized that the students didn't know anything about it. So I started from the very, very basic English. My name is Vidya Lakshmi or my name is Raju. So I started from there, and I made them within 15 or 20 days. I made them to write a self introduction of their own. And that day, on the submission of the self introduction day, I completely agree that I had the potential. I have that capability to teach English. And then I left at door, or something happened to the tuitions. So after that also I'm continuing, but I have only a few students. But if I get the opportunity to teach them back, or if I get the opportunity to teach new students who actually can't afford it, I'll definitely do it, because I think that is my responsibilities, because this country has given me a very lot of things, and it has made me this. So it's my responsibility to do it back, and this is the small thing that I can do. So, and that is my selfishness also, because you get the actual feeling of bliss when you see a smile in their face. And that is very selfish. If I even say that it is responsibility, that is very selfish to teach that children, because it actually gives you a feeling of bliss and gratitude, that you are here, you are doing something good for the society, you are doing good for the sake of the God who created. And that's an amazing feeling. And from the I'm teaching tuitions to children, other children also, but they are very special, because they have made me feel that you can teach many people as you want. And there also, I before that also, my cousin used to come to my house, and he used to get writings, essays, and he will ask me how to pronounce this, how to read this, how to understand. Just make me understand this. And from there, that journey from here, so like I'm very grateful to that journey, that because of that NGO and that students only, I am teaching to people, to other children, actually now. So it's that only which drives me to teach people.
Wow, that's something really incredible. And
Thank you.
I would like to ask you one thing. Are you a very strict teacher?
No, I actually don't like to scold, but I have one thing to say is I give homeworks, very
Okay.
little homeworks, and if they don't put me back into the homework, I will not take classes, and I'm very strict about that. That's the only thing I do. Otherwise, I don't get angry. I get very angry to my sisters, how people like amma, appa, and everything. But I don't like to actually scold the children, because they are actually sweet. They call you Didi, Didi, and all. So I don't like to scold them. Not even the tuition children I take now also. I don't like to scold them. But this thing I am very strict about it. I'll give only very little homework. Sometimes it would be able to write about his parent or inspiration or anything. So I want that in my test, right? That's the only
Okay.
thing I'm strict about.
So the vibe that our Vidya Devi has created here, I don't think you can be intentionally strict. You only get strict if you are not getting your homeworks done, right? So that's
It's
very
not like
obvious with
I
teachers.
won't scold them. I'll not take class today. Submit it. I'll give time. I give time, or
Okay.
like I don't. Actually don't like to scold children, but I say homework. It's a little homework only. Now I'll not keep continuous classes. So I want it. It's a little thing to ask for a teacher, right?
Where you
Like
are.
my teachers were actually like that. If I didn't come prepare for the class that I should take tomorrow, she'll definitely make me take, and I would get nice beatings, and also um, that things from my teacher. So that's it. Might be that thing. You actually, the teacher who is teaching you inspire you a lot, and that teacher's tactics, tricks will be inside your heart and soul, everything. So when you go to teach, and that teacher's trick will come to you, definitely it will come to you. It's instinct. I'm not doing it by my own, but it comes like sometimes I act like my teacher. my sir and all, I act like, why are you not doing this? Like I act then only I give thought about it. Why was I actually doing what my sir was doing yesterday to me?
When you teach, we start like vibe. We start acting like our teachers, and we start to
Yes,
create that
exactly.
vibe.
Once you can notice, if you start teaching anyone,
Yes.
like at least ABC, or like you will act like your nursery teacher, or you definitely that happens, because what are you seeing is that, right? You are going to school and seeing your teacher, and you are not seeing any other teachers. So that teacher's reactions, that teacher's tactics will definitely be put inside your brain.
Okay, so on that note, wish I wish you all the best for your teaching journey that you are doing, and I hope you get to teach more children so that the satisfaction that you have, because
Yeah,
at the end of the day, when you go to your bed, if you are not satisfied whatever you have done in the day, I think it's not worth it doing it. If you are even doing a small
exactly.
thing, and if you're filled with gratitude and if you're filled with satisfaction, then it's it's incomparable. So moving to the end of the session, Vidya, my last question to you will be, what is your vision for the world, and what would you like to give as a message to the people who are watching you and who have uh, certain what should I say, wait, let me find the word, certain anxiety issues or are introvert just because they feel that they are differently able? What would you like to say to them?
Yeah. First of all, to the people who are actually differently able, actually, I name them as mass of imperfections. I would continue with that. They are mass of imperfections, visible mass of imperfections. So for them, look, like everyone have their own piece of imperfection in their blood, vein, anything, or any part of their organ, or even the system. So the thing with us is it's visible. Like my hands are like this. It is visible that I have no long fingers, both the fingers. So it's visible. But when you look at somebody, they have also something which is not very perfect, or which is not very good looking or anything inside. Not don't see their beautiful face or their body or anything, but deep inside their talents, their abilities, and everything. You have to understand that every piece of the thing you see around, every body, every system, every person you see have some imperfections within them. No one is perfect, even the creator is not. um, no one is perfect. So you should feel lucky that you are born here. And I would like, I can feel that like parents will say, you have only this disability now, you look that uh, she doesn't have an eyes, she doesn't have an head, like they will say like that. But at the end of the time, that is to be that is for you to be grateful. At the end of time, you have to look that your body is beautiful, your life is beautiful, and it is incredible because you are breathing every day. uh, After a minute, we don't know, I will be alive or you will be alive, I don't know, or you don't know. But you're breathing. Tomorrow you will leave, don't know. Yesterday night many people died. Today uh, we are living. Isn't it great? And that is one tactic which helped me fight my that in inferiority complex. Like I'm a very good fan of Sadhguru. Like he used to say that each and every hour, like you feel your breath, you're breathing, and be like, wow, I'm leaving, my pulse are going, I'm breathing, and everything, I'm walking, I'm jumping, everything. So it's beautiful, right? We don't know what happens to the ant we are seeing the next step. We don't know what happens to the lizard that we are seeing in our walls. We don't know what happens to the spider cogs that we see yesterday and today we don't see them. So it's actually, this world is very, it's not immortal, it's very mortal. So we should understand that this we have to live here, we are being like put inside, put into this world, and we have to be actually grateful for putting us into this world. Because beyond this imperfections, beyond this beautiful imperfections and everything, beyond this differences, beyond this similarities, there is a life, beyond everything, because you're here to experience it. So we have to experience it. And one thing about life is be grateful for even the person who passes in your life for an anon of time. Be grateful to him or her, or anyone, even the dog, even the cat, even any living being or anything who is passing in your life has an important role that you will recognize after many days. I have recognized, because many people who haven't played a very significant role, but they have only attended my life, sometimes have become basic of what I am today. Because when I was sitting in the railway station, a small child was having the parents nearby, and they were playing, and she suddenly hold my hand and said hi, and she did hi. So no one says this handsome is beautiful, no one says this is beautiful, but this child told me hi. Like she told in Malayalam, like hi, then the dress undallo. What it means is how beautiful it is. So she told how beautiful it is, and that moment itself, I got how wrong I was. I was always cursing this. Like, I don't have fingers, long fingers to keep my nails. I don't have fingers to put my ring. I was cursing it. But look at that girl. She's appreciating it. So that's it, everything. So when I told about gratitude, I have to tell my parents. They are very like patient with me. To bear me is a very big thing, and they have done that. And especially to my father, he is the only reason I am like standing before you and talking. So the thing, what he did is, when I was 2.5, he took me to Shabrimala, which is a very adventurous place for Keralites, and it's very adventurous, and that too in a very long journey type. It's in like you have rocks, mountains, and everything. That's basically a religious place, but it's adventurous too. So he took me there, and from that second, my age of 2.5 years to till 10, I went to Shabrimala for more than 7 or 8 times. I went, and after that, I knew that if I believe that I don't have fingers in my right legs also, I can walk, I can go to an adventurous trip, I can climb a mountain, etc. So he did that to me. He has always that faith that I can do adventurous things, I am capable of it. And that's what that faith has led me to this. Like, no one can stop me. Like, if you see a mountain, if I want to go and jump to that, I'll go, because my father will allow, because I know that he trusts me. I mean, no one's like his opinion will I be or not. So that faith, he has given me that faith. I can, if I fall also, I'll be the happiest, because I tried at least. So the thing, people actually feel they are different, it's very good, because you are different. You're damn different from the person sitting next to you. You're different from your mother, your own mother who created you, your own father, your sisters, your siblings. You're each and every, we are different from each and everyone. So you're different, not in a negative way, but in a very positive manner, because the creator have shown mercy on you, and he have made you unique, and it's our responsibility to show the path of uniqueness to other people. So don't ask for sympathy and don't gain for empathy. It will come your own way when it needs. Thank you. And be grateful to anyone and everyone, even it be your enemy. Be grateful, because I have the lessons of my life. Like, I was cursing the person who I thought I was enemy, but he has or she has done many things for me in a very like in a different way. So I have to say, we have to be thankful to anyone, everyone and anyone. And I'm very thankful to Diksha for giving me this opportunity. And I can feel that you are thinking, why this girl is blurting her all heart out and I'm talking too much, I know. But thank you for giving me this opportunity. And for all those who are hearing, thank you for listening me patiently. Thank you so much. It was very, very like satisfying talking to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vidya, because I wanted to do this session with you because during this lockdown, people are very much like, what should we do? We have nothing to do. And, they were like getting negative thoughts and everything. So I was thinking like, let's do a session with someone who can just create the vibe and, just get it like, yeah, we can do it. And everything, it's all about ourselves. If we want to do it, we can do it. It's just we have to be grateful and we have to believe in ourselves no matter what the situation is. So that was my main aim to do this session with you, and I think you have nailed it and you are the rock star today. So thank you so much, Vidya, for joining with us. And on that note, that was Vidya Lakshmi Iyer with me. And to all my audience, stay tuned to the page of Humans of Mitty Kiram. We will be back again. Till then, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Vidya.
Thank you. Thank you.